founding fathers.
We are anonymous. No faces, no flags, no parties. We exist where power lies to itself and hopes no one is paying attention. Tonight we are paying attention. What you are about to hear is not satire, not exaggeration, and not partisan theater. It is a real story unfolding in real time, and it has become a global embarrassment so loud that even Donald Trump cannot shout over it. This is the story of how a $75 million documentary meant to glorify Melania Trump instead exposed just how disconnected Trump world has become from reality, and how countries like Australia are laughing while Trump quietly loses his mind. This was supposed to be a victory lap, a prestige project, a cinematic love letter to the former First Lady. Amazon MGM Studios reportedly paid around $40 million just for the rights to the documentary, then poured in another $35 million for marketing and global distribution. $75 million for a documentary about Melania Trump, filmed during the final days leading up to Donald Trump's 2025 inauguration. The pitch was intimacy, elegance, legacy. The result has been humiliation. The film was marketed as a rare, personal look into Melania's life, her routines, her reflections, her role beside Trump, her immigrant journey, her supposed depth and quiet strength. But the moment tickets went on sale, the illusion collapsed. Across the United Kingdom, advance sales were so weak they became news. At a flagship cinema in London, just one ticket was sold for an opening screening. One. Not one theater, one human being. Other showings sold 2 tickets. Some sold none at all. Screenshots of empty seating charts spread across social media faster than the film's own marketing ever could. Then came Australia, and this is where the story turned from embarrassing to outright comedic. In Australian cinemas, particularly in Brisbane and on the Gold Coast, pre-sales were dismal. Entire theatres sat empty. Australians did what Australians do best when confronted with absurdity. They laughed. Online people joked that it was easier to find a unicorn than someone who had actually paid to see the movie. Cinema booking apps showed rows upon rows of untouched seats. In some locations, fewer than 10 tickets sold per screening. In others, none.
Well, the First Lady's $57 million documentary looks on track to bomb at the box office.
In Australia, Hoyts has reportedly sold just 1 pre-sale ticket for the film, which will be released on Friday. For more, we are joined by comedian
You little movie girl, you.
Commentator. I know, I'm the ticket holder, Pete Dominic. Can you believe it? But honestly, Pete, with lines like this...
Hi, Mr. President. Congratulations.
Did you watch it?
I did not. Yeah, I will see it on the news.
You know, I did get a ticket because I wanted to find someplace quiet and alone.
And it did not stop there. New Zealand users shared screenshots showing 0 tickets sold nationwide for certain showtimes. 0. Not low interest, not weak turnout, complete rejection. South Africa went even further. The documentary was pulled entirely from theatrical release before it could even properly open. Distributors did not want it. Cinemas did not want it. Audiences certainly did not want it. Meanwhile, critics were not kind. They were brutal. Reviewers described the film as bland, lifeless, and empty. Not empty theaters, an empty film. Critics said it felt less like a documentary and more like a glossy political brochure, a vanity project, a propaganda exercise. On audience-driven platforms, the ratings collapsed. Some of the lowest scores ever recorded for a wide-release documentary. People said it felt like watching someone walk silently through rooms for 2 hours while pretending it meant something. Behind the scenes, things were no better. Reports surfaced that crew members asked to have their names removed from the credits. Editors, technicians, people who worked on the film did not want to be associated with it. That alone tells you everything. Professionals do not do that unless something has gone very wrong. And then there is the director, Brett Ratner, a name that already carried serious baggage long before this project. A man whose Hollywood career collapsed after multiple credible allegations of sexual misconduct. A man who had not directed a major film in years. This was the person chosen to helm a $75 million documentary about the First Lady of the United States. That decision alone raised alarms across the industry. But in Trump world, loyalty and connections matter more than judgment, credibility, or public trust. As the box office numbers trickled in, the situation became impossible to spin. Projections showed the film would struggle to make even a few $1 million globally in its opening weekend. Analysts openly questioned whether it would be pulled early from theaters. This is not how prestige documentaries behave. This is not how cultural moments unfold. This is how flops die quietly. And yet Donald Trump did what Donald Trump always does. He lied. He went online and declared the film a massive success. He called it a must-watch. He claimed tickets were selling out fast. He insisted people loved it. The problem is that reality does not care what Donald Trump says. Reality looks like empty theaters in Australia. Reality looks like one ticket sold in London. Reality looks like laughter spreading across continents. Trump reportedly hosted private screenings packed with loyalists and friendly media trying to manufacture applause where none existed organically. But outside that bubble, the public response was clear. Indifference, mockery, rejection. The hypocrisy did not go unnoticed either. The documentary leans heavily into Melania's immigrant story, portraying it as inspiring and aspirational. While the Trump administration continues to enforce harsh immigration policies that tear families apart and demonize migrants, critics called the contrast tone deaf. Some called it offensive, others simply called it fake. Online, the jokes turned dark. People said they would rather do almost anything than sit through the film. Some joked that the only people buying tickets were Trump allies trying to inflate numbers. Others joked that finding an audience member was harder than finding truth in a Trump speech. Memes spread, screenshots spread, laughter spread, and through it all, Australia kept laughing. Not because Australians cared deeply about Melania Trump, but because the entire spectacle was so transparently ridiculous. A $75 million attempt to manufacture admiration, rejected by the public in one of the clearest ways possible. Silence, empty seats, zero interest. This is not just a bad movie story. This is a story about power losing touch with reality, about billionaires thinking money can buy relevance, about politicians believing their own myths, about a family so insulated by wealth and ego that they genuinely believed the world wanted this. They were wrong. If millions truly adored this brand, if the enthusiasm Trump brags about actually existed, the theaters would not be empty. If the narrative were authentic, it would not need $75 million to prop it up. If this were art, it would not be mocked across continents. So here we are, a global flop, a laughing audience, a furious ego pretending nothing is wrong. We are anonymous. We are watching. We are listening. And if you are listening, too, share this story. Talk about it. Question the narratives you are sold. Do not let power rebrand failure as success. Do not let money overwrite truth. The world is laughing for a reason. Expose the lie. Spread the signal.